All right, guys. Here he goes. Gavin Newsome's showing his hand on the break the glass scenario. Here, check it out. He just signed a new bill, SB 73. Here, check it out.
For being here on relatively short notice. We just 6 days out from the election, and we thought this was a timely bill, and I just want to express gratitude to our two senators and Assemblywoman for their outstanding work to address the anxiety that has been expressed almost universally about what's going on with this, what's going on to address the issue of the anxiety, the growing anxiety about fair and free elections, the anxiety around intimidation, the anxiety around protecting the sanctity of the voting process. And in many ways, this is one of a number of bills, but in many ways, this begins to answer that question in a substantive.
All right, before he gets started, I just want to let you guys know that there's no voter ID out here. These people think that it's racist to have voter ID. They say that black and brown people can't get IDs. I think him saying that is racist, but that's what he says. He said black and brown people, we can't get IDs. We don't know where the DMV is. We can't get passports. We don't know how to do that. That's his thing. So he's bringing out this bill to safeguard illegals voting. Here, check it out.
Way the bill that I'm about to sign. But rather than belaboring the point, I'll finish up. I wanted to hear from our authors, and Assemblywoman, perhaps we'll listen to you first and walk us through it with all your background, by the way, full disclosure.
7 years as a chief elections official.
Yeah, so you know a thing or two about the bill that you've gotten to my desk.
Yes. Well, I just want to thank you for agreeing to sign it today. I'm going to hold you to that. The bill does three important things. First, it strengthens protections for the chain of custody of voted ballots by increasing the accountability for the unlawful seizure or removal of ballots from elections officials. When the sheriff in Riverside seized the 650,000 ballots from the elections official, I was horrified. Breaking that chain of custody breaks the trust that voters have in our elections.
She's talking about Sheriff Bianco when he seized those ballots legally. By the way, he did it legally, but they trying to stop that now so that he can't catch them or nobody else can catch them cheating. All right, check it.
Second, the bill prohibits unauthorized access to voting systems, voting machines, or voter data without lawful judicial authorization. And third, it gives the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and local elections officials stronger legal tools to respond quickly when election interference threatens voter confidence or election administration. So let me be clear. Election workers should never fear political intimidation for simply doing their job. Voters should never wonder whether ballots were improperly handled. And law enforcement powers should never be misused in ways that jeopardize the integrity of our democratic process. So SB 73 helps to ensure that California elections remain secure, transparent, and administered according to the rule of law. Our democracy depends not only on the right to vote, but on the public's confidence that every lawful vote will be protected and counted fairly. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
I appreciate it. Senator, you want to
Sure.
add
Well,
to
thank you,
that?
Governor.
All right, listen to this guy very carefully. He's going to talk about how he wants illegals to vote. He's going to say it very nonchalantly, but listen to him carefully.
And thank you, Assemblymember Pellerin and Senator Cervantes, for your leadership in this space. Let me take you back to Election Day, November of 1988. You youngsters don't roll your eyes yet. On Election Day 1988, I was a federal prosecutor. I was assigned as the duty officer for any election irregularities. Early that morning, I got a call that there were police officers stopping Latinos from voting in Orange County. You hear weird things all the time in that job. A couple hours later, I got another phone call, then a third phone call, so I grabbed another prosecutor. We went out, and there was a person, a policewoman, with a big sign that said, "Non-citizens may not vote." We watched as a Latino couple, or what appeared to be a Latino couple, approached her, engaged in conversation, turned and walked away. Now, we had heard that they were asking for proof of citizenship. They turned, walked away. We got out of the car, and of course, we were prosecutors. White shirt, red tie, blue suit. She dropped her sign. We pursued for 30 seconds, lost her. That time, that wasn't illegal. I didn't know it wasn't illegal to do that at the time. But the person who was responsible actually won that election. There were no Democrats elected at any level in Orange County. I ran against that guy, Kurt Pringle, and won. But that was the catalyst that got me into public life, at least elected public life. And so I thought, 36 years ago, that issue was probably done. And here we are today, here we are today where the President of the United States and others are saying, hey, we're going to do the exact same things. We're going to engage in what is essentially intimidation of voters. And so thank you to the leaders here in California for not standing for that, for being proactive to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to protect the integrity of this election, as it has been protected for decades and decades until somebody started to threaten it. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Cervantes. Thank you again for your leadership.
All right. After he says that, what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. She's going to talk in a minute, but I want to say to protect our elections, we should have voter ID. Very simple. But we'll let her carry on.
Yes, well, right now, California is standing with courage, standing with urgency to protect voters' rights to cast a ballot free from intimidation or interference. We've seen an incident in my own home county of Riverside where ballots were seized and the chain of custody was broken. That is against the law. SB 73 puts in protections to ensure that ballots will be secured and that voters have confidence in our election system, that their voices will be heard at the ballot box. I am grateful that we are standing in this moment today to protect the integrity of our elections. I'm grateful to the governor, to the pro tem, to the speaker, and to my legislative colleagues for meeting this moment with urgency and meeting this moment with resolve.
I appreciate it, Senator. Thank you, all of you, for your leadership in this space. As I noted, this is not the final word on election integrity. Quite the contrary. We signaled in the May revise our ongoing negotiations and conversations around providing more resources, not just for the June ballot, but obviously for the November ballot. And those conversations continue to be extraordinarily productive. As I hinted a moment ago, and Senator Cervantes in particular, among others, have other election bills that are teed up, that are being negotiated, amended in real time. We've been monitoring and watching those as well. This one is a first good bill to sign on the basis of two things. One, it goes in effect immediately upon my signature, number one. So in many ways, it addresses some of the anxieties around next Tuesday's election. Does it address all the issues in the past? No, and that's an inevitable question. And obviously that was part of the debate. I don't want to overstate it with this quote unquote have stopped what happened with an individual in Riverside County. Not necessarily, though there are aspects and component parts that certainly would make it more difficult and wouldn't require necessarily the clarification of the state Supreme Court that ultimately ended the abuse in Riverside County with those 650,000 ballots. And that is certainly that clarity has been going to get benefited because of the legislation. This is about sending information out with clarity, drawing a line in terms of what you can and cannot do as it relates to the registrars coming out of the DOJ, the AG's office, which is important. That clarification is important. It addresses the issue of peace officers and any prospect of intimidation, addresses the issues, as was suggested, around chain of custody. And so I think it's important, a group of specific provisions and part of what will be a mosaic of grouped legislation to address the legitimate anxiety that is out there. And I say legitimate, and forgive me, would be remiss if I didn't just briefly.
He's talking about anxiety. They have anxiety 6 days out, and they want to change up laws because they want to win. They know that they finna to lose out here in California. They know it. You can see it in their faces. They trying to change up and do what they can to stretch it out. But yeah, ain't nothing we can really do about it because we vote for these guys all the time. Out here in California, we love this. So I say don't complain about it. I'm just showing you guys what they doing. I say don't complain about it. Just say love it if you love it. If not, we got to change our voting habits and get to the real. But if you guys like this type of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.